Hey guys, welcome back to Cruising with Matthew, and today in episode 4 of my P&O Azura vlog series, I'm going to be talking all about our very first port of call, which was Cadiz in Spain. Now, we had a fantastic time and I can't wait to share it all with you, so I really hope that you enjoy. So me and my family woke up quite early as Azura was making her final manoeuvres to get into the port of Cadiz. Now, I have to admit, getting up at the time that we did wasn't really our own choice, as one of the few drawbacks of booking an aft balcony was the fact that when the ship manoeuvres in and out of port, you do tend to experience a good degree of vibration, which I think woke us up. Now, it wasn't a massive issue and a very small price to pay for the views and the size of cabin that you got when you have an aft balcony, but just something to consider. And we were on a lower deck, on D deck, so that might have contributed to it as well. However, we were greeted to another fantastic warm Mediterranean day as we made our way up to breakfast to have a bite to eat before exploring our very first port of call. Now, whenever I disembark, I can't help but be amazed by the sheer size of the ship that you've been travelling on for a couple of days, and I do think that you tend to forget just how big these ships are. And normally when you're boarding the ship in Southampton, the size of the ship tends to be obscured by the terminal, so it's really only in the first port of call that you see the sheer size of the ship, and Azura was definitely a sight to behold. So after taking copious amounts of pictures of Azura, we made our way into the centre of Cadiz. Now, it's quite a short walk to get from the port to the main centre of Cadiz, and I was really impressed with this area. It's really flat and easy to navigate, and there was a beautiful square with lots of markets, and the architecture in this area was really impressive. So I really enjoyed just wandering around these Spanish streets and really taking in the atmosphere. One area that I really wanted to investigate, however, was the Cathedral of Cadiz. Now, this is probably one of the most prominent buildings in the area, and you can see it pretty much anywhere around the city if you have a good enough vantage point. And this is something I would thoroughly recommend anyone visiting, because it only cost us around €6 each to get in. You get a full guided tour via handset, which means that you can go at your leisure, and there are a variety of points of interest which have numbers on, so you simply just have to type that in and you get your own tour, which I think is fantastic value. And you can't help but be amazed by the intricate architecture of these buildings, especially when considering the fact that they didn't have the machines that we have today. And even after all the advances we have made in technology and building, still blows me away. So by that time we walked along the breakwater until we found a lovely cafe, and we really just sat and took in the views around the area. Now, unfortunately, by this time it was getting very hot indeed, and it meant that we decided to retreat to the ship and potentially explore a little bit later on. I have to admit, I really enjoyed this port, so much so that I took my friend on a cruise on board Oceania half a year later, and we equally enjoyed it then, on what would actually turn out to be Oceania's last ever visit to the port of Cadiz. Now, as we walked back to the ship, you couldn't help but notice that Azura's lifeboat had actually been swung out. Now, my mum is sometimes a bit of a nervous traveller when it comes to cruises and begun to get a bit concerned. However, I did remind her that the crew do run more comprehensive drills on port days when they're not worried about all the comings and goings that occur on embarkation day, and most of the guests have got off in port, so that was quite interesting to see. As we made our way back to the cabin, we were greeted to a peculiar sight of a lifeboat actually on the promenade deck getting a nice clean before we decided to go and have some afternoon tea in the buffet restaurant and get ourselves ready for a swim and a bit of a sunbathe. The weather in Cadiz was absolutely incredible, and really a continuation of the weather that we experienced in England, which isn't something you can say that often. But we really enjoyed sitting at the back of Azura, and we got chatting to a lovely couple, which is something that I love about cruising, that you meet people by chance, and with everything that's going on at the moment, these are memories that I'm definitely cherishing. Before we knew it, Azura was getting ready to set sail towards Barcelona. Now, we were greeted to some unexpected guests as we set sail from Cadiz, and we were greeted by no one other than Wallace and Gromit. Now, I have to admit, Wallace was probably very warm in his sweater, but that definitely made me and my sister laugh. We also got to enjoy a party sail away as we left Cadiz. Now, one thing for certain, the entertainments team definitely didn't disappoint, and it's something that I absolutely loved, and you couldn't help but have a laugh and dance with them. thing that I always love doing is watching the pilot embark and disembark, because the amount of skill it takes for these people to get onto the ship and then guide these huge ships safely into the port is something that really interests me. So that was something that I found really enjoyable to watch. And the pilot got a cheer and waved to us all up on deck as they sailed back to port after completing another successful job with Azura. After having a few cocktails, me and Zoe decided to get ready for a casual night on board Azura, and before we went to dinner we were treated to some fantastic views as Azura sailed away from Cadiz onwards towards the Straits of Gibraltar, and the sea was so calm and relaxing, and I never tire of the fantastic views that you get because there's no land to obstruct your views, and it's just something that I find absolutely incredible. Around the time that we were having dinner, the captain announced that we were actually going to start sailing through the Straits of Gibraltar, so between courses ran up to the promenade deck to take a view of Gibraltar from afar. Now you couldn't really see as much, unfortunately we couldn't see the rock, but the sunset definitely made it worthwhile. So after dinner, although there was a wide variety of entertainment options on board, we weren't really feeling anything and we'd done quite a lot of walking, so we decided to have a few cocktails at the Planet Bar, chatting, relaxing and listening to a fantastic duo play before turning in and getting ready for a sea day on our way to Barcelona. A day which I was extremely nervous about because it was also going to be the day that I received my final university results to determine if I had passed my degree in biomedical science, and a nightcap of a couple cocktails was definitely needed. So that is my 4th episode in my P&O Azura vlog series, and I really hope that you're enjoying it so far. If you want to know anything else, please do comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe because it's always appreciated. If you want to know more about Cruising with Matthew, then take a look at some of my other social media sites, including the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and a Facebook group. I post in there daily, so I'd love to see you there, and all the links are below in the description. I hope that you're all doing well with everything at the moment, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. So until next time, this is Cruising with Matthew, and thank you so much for watching.